What's up, guys, and welcome to Press A Repeatedly. Justin Thomas here with Christopher Gold. And Chris, do we have a doozy lined up for today?
Yes, we do. So, as we traditionally do, we were looking back at all of our past episodes, going back the past couple years, and we realized that whenever we do our 5 most anticipated games, we always follow that up with something fun. So, this week, we're following up with something fun. It's a Quiz Time Supreme!
Oh!
Yes, that is right. We are bringing back a fan favorite, the Quiz Time Supreme. If you are new to the show, if you don't know what we're talking about, the video game Quiz Time Supreme is just that. It is a quiz that Justin and I challenge each other to answer specific video game-related trivia questions, and the winner or the loser receives a prize or a punishment, depending on the quiz. Justin, what is the punishment for this particular Quiz Time Supreme?
Yeah, we got a special punishment, I guess, lined up for today's quiz. Normally, we've done stuff where the loser has to play a bad indie arcade game or something like that, or the Laney Law, which was famous in our last quiz, where you had to play more of a bad indie arcade game. And, it's not too different. There is a bad game involved again, but this time, if you've been listening to our 2 most recent episodes, this is going to be very fitting. But 2 episodes ago, Chris's indie arcade game to play was the wretched Uriel's Chasm.
And it was wretched, I assure you. Go back and listen. It was not a fun experience.
And if you listen to last episode, Chris and his wise guy, moment, decided to turn the tables and assign me the sequel to Uriel's Chasm 2, that I have to talk about later on in this episode.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a very dirty move. Everyone agrees. But as he was assigning me that, we both found out that there is, in fact, a Uriel's Chasm 3. And we made a pact last week that I would not assign Chris Uriel's Chasm 3 to play as an indie arcade game again this week, because 3 weeks straight of Uriel's Chasm would be crazy, right?
It's too much Uriel's Chasm for one podcast to take.
So, we figured out, in a fun way, that doesn't necessarily involve the indie arcade, but the loser of this quiz will be forced to play the 3rd and hopefully final game in the Uriel's Chasm trilogy, Uriel's Chasm 3.
We've decided to leave this one, ironically, up to God. We are going to determine which of us is going to be playing the 3rd installment of Uriel's Chasm by asking each other related questions. I've prepared 5 questions for Justin to answer, and Justin likewise has 5 questions that he is going to ask me. They are multiple choice, A, B, and C, and we've also prepared tiebreaker questions, just in case, for whatever reason, at the end, we have tied it up.
Yes, and, this punishment of playing Uriel's Chasm 3 does not count as the indie arcade for this week. So, if Chris were to lose the quiz, as he very much will later on in this episode, he will be forced to not only play his next indie arcade assignment, he will also have to play Uriel's Chasm 3 alongside it.
Right. That is not going to happen this week, ladies and gentlemen. I'm only playing my one indie arcade, whatever game that may be. I'm not lumping Uriel's Chasm 3 on top of that. That's too much horseshit for one person to take between episodes. I'm not doing it. I'm going to earn the right. You'll see.
All right. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see, but I'm excited.
I am pumped. You are going down, my friend. All right. But before we get into any of that, naturally, we have been playing some video games over the past couple weeks, so I'm going to kick it off over to Justin. Justin, what are you playing?
What are you
playing?
Yes, we do have some regular business to attend to before we get a little wild with the quiz later. Yeah, I've had a pretty eventful week. Some old, some new. Nothing borrowed and nothing blue, though.
Congratulations again on your marriage to Guiji.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Guiji. So I've been doing this weird thing lately where I play through like 94% of a game and then just stop playing it. I don't know why I do that. Someone suggested that maybe it's I don't want things to end, so I just don't finish them. And maybe that's subconsciously true. I don't know.
That's very deep.
Yeah. Maybe, that's what my brain is thinking. But there were two games in particular that I was right at the end at over the past couple months, and I never wrapped them up. And the last month for me in particular has been very light in gaming. I haven't really played too much. I haven't really had the urge to play anything, which does happen to me, time in and time out. So this weekend I didn't really have anything going on, and I kind of forced myself to sit down and play some games because we have a podcast about it. I haven't been playing anything.
Yeah, of course. No,
Yeah.
I hear you.
And I've noticed when this does happen to me, when I get in these funks, that if I actually do sit down, turn the game on, and kind of, for lack of a better term, force myself to play the games, then I start having fun and really get into it. So I did that with these games, and it worked pretty well because I finished both of them.
Good.
Yeah, but first was, as you alluded to, Luigi's Mansion 3. I was at. Did you finish this yet, or are you still working on it?
I'm still working my way through it too. I saw Elena beat it though, so I know what's coming.
Oh, okay. So where I had stopped playing it over a month ago was the second time Polterkitty steals one of the elevator buttons. And, we talked about this at length, I think, last episode, just how much of a pain in the butt, how momentum stopping that whole mechanic is, where you have to go back and chase Polterkitty through rooms you've already been in, and, it takes 3 different instances of vacuuming up her tail to, capture her.
Yeah, that's a very annoying mechanic. Not really a fan of it. Being 100% honest, that's actually why I took a pause from the game after that. It literally took all the wind out of my sails. I was like, okay, I need a break from this.
Yeah, it's definitely annoying. It's definitely backtracky and arguably not really needed in the game at all. But I wasn't going to just not finish Luigi's Mansion 3. I mean, it was my favorite game of the year. So
right.
So I sat down and I got through that part. It wasn't too bad. It took a little bit of time, but did that part, and then I had the last 2 floors to go to the hotel, including the final floor, where you essentially wrap the game up and have your final boss fight and stuff. Right. And I don't want to spoil too much for those who haven't played it yet and are wanting to. But it's pretty crazy. There are 2 big fights at the end that you have to go through that are tricky in both difficulty of the fight, but also fighting against the controls of the game, which can be kind of frustrating. The last fight in particular has one section where you are timed. You have to do a certain maneuver to injure the boss within a certain time limit. And if you don't pull that off in the time limit, it basically is a game over, and you gotta start to fight all over again.
Having a time mechanic with those controls is just mean. Yeah,
and it's tricky because you have to fire something out of your poltergust, and the crosshairs the crosshairs controls in that game have always been brutal the entire playthrough, so having to rely on that is certainly painful. But if you can get through it, I urge you to keep at it because the ending is very nice. There's a lot of really great cutscenes and moments that are very charming, as you would expect from Luigi's Mansion 3, and the whole thing wraps up rather nicely. And has a really nice credit sequence too. So it felt great. I'm really glad I was able to close the book on that, and really just put to bed one of my favorite games of the last year.
I was noticing on social media you were sharing a lot of screenshots towards the end of the game, and I mean I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say that at one point you rescue Mario. I mean, that's part of the whole end sequence. That's part of the whole game. Is you're trying to rescue your brother among everyone else, and you captured this one amazing moment as Mario is leaping to embrace Luigi and hug him in a bro hug, right? You captured it at just the right moment where Mario's head looks like it's almost pressed up against Luigi's head in not a bro hug, but a bro kiss.
Yes.
How did you capture that shot? Because it is amazing and it is hilarious.
So the whole thing happens fast. It's actually pretty cool. You rescue Mario. And there's still a little bit of game left afterwards, so there's still stuff to look forward to, which is cool. But he's coming out of the painting and everything, and I don't know why, but I do this thing on the Switch where I start taking some screenshots towards the end of the game, because you see a lot of cool shots normally at the end of games and during credit sequences and stuff, and seeing Mario and Luigi together again, look, I was getting emotional, man. It was awesome, just the amount of love for these bros. So
sure.
Mario's so happy to see Luigi, and just his facial expressions and everything. And I was just trying to take a couple screen grabs to really have a good one that would capture the moment perfectly that I could put on Twitter. And there's a part where Mario just kind of jumps into the air into Luigi's arms for a big bro hug. So I took a picture during that, and then when I finished the scene and went back to look at my screenshots, I noticed it was basically a weird squash and stretch Mario just wanting to face plant Luigi and kiss him right on the lips. Of course it's a hilarious picture. So I put it on Twitter anyway with the caption mid-bro hug, and just thought, maybe some people would enjoy it. I did not expect, Chris, to go absolutely viral with this picture.
It got retweeted by a lot of people. You got a lot of likes on the original tweet. Some of the responses to this are just great. One person just responded look like kissing to me. One of them is just what the fuck, Mario? It's a gif of Sonic looking horrified, which also Sonic, that's very judgmental given the shit that you've got on the internet.
Yeah.
So let's hold our horses there, buddy. All right. My personal favorite is the one person with a Pikachu avatar that literally just says incest. Which they're not wrong.
They're not wrong. Initially I didn't want to make that assumption with the picture, but it's kind of impossible to avoid it, so I leaned in with it. I put a comment that said, Mario, please, not in front of Guigi, and a lot of people really seem to like that.
It was a great shot, man. It resonated with a lot of people. Everyone knew that Mario and Luigi, being brothers, really loved one another, but no one suspected the level of love that this went to.
I think one of the comments is Mario, why are you kissing your brother Luigi? It's a very nonchalant, why are you doing this?
It's just why are you doing this? like their dad caught them, and he's just Mario, why are you kissing your brother Luigi? We've been over this.
Yeah. It was crazy. One of the people that retweeted the picture, or the tweet, was a streamer. I don't remember her name, but her retweet itself got 400 likes or something.
Yeah, that was
crazy.
that was some bullshit. Like that person's tweet got more likes and retweets than
the original tweet,
which is bullshit. But whatever. We all know who the real originator of that was.
That's right.
Yeah, you should be getting calls from Kotaku, US Gamer,
right.
Destructoid, all those, Polygon, all of them should be buzzing your phone off the hook right now.
Of course, I followed that up with some less scandalous screen grabs as well. So if you're interested, hop on my Twitter. There's a couple really good ones. There's a really great one I took of Luigi, Mario, and Peach at the end of the game that looks fantastic. So I really want to give more credit to Next Level Games and just really how beautiful of a game that they put together, and just all the nice touches and charm value of everything about it. So.
Oh, of course, yeah. Those guys, they all knocked it out of the park. They all did a wonderful job.
Yes. So that is Luigi's Mansion 3 wrapped up and finished. The other game that I finished, Link's Awakening for the Switch.
Ooh, interesting. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, again, another one. I was at the entrance of the 8th and final dungeon of the game the last time I played, which was months ago. And then I just...
Which you spent months trying to beat that one dungeon.
Oh, the one before. Yeah, oh my god, don't get me started. So yeah, I was nervous going into Dungeon 8 because Dungeon 7 was so difficult for me.
Right.
And, Dungeon 8 was tough. It's big. It's the biggest dungeon of the game. But, I didn't get as hung up as I did on the previous dungeon. I think all in all it took me about maybe an hour to get through it, which isn't terrible. It was fun. It was challenging. There was definitely some cool secrets, and the layout of it was pretty cool. I had never beaten Link's Awakening when I played it on the Game Boy. The farthest I made it to was Dungeon 7, so it was cool to finally wrap it up. The end sequence of that game is fantastic. The story is really cool and kind of like messes with your head a little bit. It's just really awesome. But without a doubt, my favorite part of that game is in the very beginning of the game and also at the very end of the game. There is just some brilliant 2D hand-drawn animation of Link just floating in the water. The game starts with him on the boat and it's getting destroyed by the waves and everything. And at the end of the game, it's basically him again on the boat with, some more stuff that I won't spoil. But I just really, really adore that artwork. And if there was some way they could make a Zelda game that looked exactly like this 2D cartoon, that would be, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Just the art style, the animation in both of those sequences was just really, really top-notch. You could really sense, you have the original animated sequences in the original game for the Game Boy, but, naturally, that was with a smaller processor, 8-bit graphics, the monochromatic screen. It's just not as technically impressive as what they can do with the modern day hardware. And they took that same basic concept and they did what they had to really capture that feel of, being shipwrecked and what happens at the end of the game. They did a fantastic job with that animation. So yeah, hats off to that team.
Yeah, and another cool thing, at the end, during the credits sequence, this orchestrated song that's being played a couple different times switches back to its 8-bit roots of the Game Boy version, and that was awesome. I love that. It was really cool to see how it just kind of switches gears into that almost seamlessly. It was a cool touch.
Yeah, the music overall in this game was just really, really good. Link's Awakening, this was the game that introduced the famous to the franchise song, The Ballad of the Windfish. And it's a song that's it's ubiquitous throughout the entire game. Marin sings it, you play it when you finally enter the egg to awaken the windfish eventually. And it's just such a beautiful tune, especially the way that it's played and orchestrated or sung in the case of Marin is just so beautiful and well done. Like, you can't just help but, like, stare at the screen and just be, like, taken in by the whole experience of it.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't give the music enough justice of that game during our Game of the Year awards. Just how fantastic it is, start to finish. I mean, it's just an absolutely incredible soundtrack.
There's really not more he can really say about it. It's just phenomenal.
Did you wrap that up?
Yes, I did. Like you, I never beat it on the original Game Boy. I had gotten a copy of it on, I think it was the 3DS, the 3DS eShop at one point, and I'd gotten pretty far there. I think, like you, I got hung up on the 7th dungeon, Eagle Tower, and that's when I put the game down. But this time, I barreled through it and got through the rest of the game and managed to beat it.
Did you find all the heart pieces and all of the items?
I definitely did not find all the heart pieces. I may have found all the items. I don't think I did. I'm almost positive I did. I didn't find all the magic seashells.
Oh, yeah, me either. I was missing 3 hearts, and I think like 2 or 3 items from my inventory, and I had no clue what they could have been.
Oh, wow, you really combed that world really well.
Yeah.
If you only had that stuff missing.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they were, though.
I was talking to Elena. Now, this game had introduced that whole mechanic with Dampé where you could do that dungeon where you switch things around. From what she was telling me, they took one of the seashells and they put it in that area. So what you had to do was you had to go through the dungeon and beat like a couple of, I think, the custom dungeons or something like that. And at the end, your prize is a magic shell.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't even try that.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah. Okay, so that was old stuff. As for new stuff, which isn't really new as in a game coming out, but new to me playing it, Steam's Lunar sale is going on right now for Lunar New Year, if you're unaware.
Yes.
And yesterday, Butch had wanted to play a game. We were thinking about what to play. We found out Divinity Original Sin 2 was on sale for $22. And that was a game both of us really wanted to play for years and just never got around to it.
I wanted to play that game for years too.
Yeah. So you should totally get it if you're interested. Because it's up to 4 player. We could play it together.
Oh, shit.
It's awesome. It is a very faithful to Dungeons and Dragons top-down dungeon crawling experience, but the kicker is that battles are turn-based. They're not just like click, crazy like Diablo like point and click battles. When you get into a battle, there's an action bar. You have action points. There's a lot of strategy about movement and initiative, and players or enemies can break what's that called in D&D? Engagement, when you try to run away from an enemy, but they're locked in on you.
Oh, disengage. So they get opportunities of attack.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah. And there's just a ton of strategy and stuff, and it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. I mean, we've only played a couple hours, but it's interesting to see that type of game with this whole turn-based mechanic to it. And, it's really great. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I'm loving it so far.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, I knew when the game had come out, a lot of people were praising it and, like, just saying, oh, this game is wonderful, it's amazing. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, it looks so good. And then I looked at my wallet and, the one moth that was inside, like, kind of crawled out and died. And I was like, oh, well, I can't afford it. But $22, yeah, that's a great deal. And I can afford it. I can afford 22. I can afford $22, Justin.
Yeah, it's a great deal. great price. It's a little bit, I guess, to get used to all the systems and everything, but it's nothing too complicated, and it's pretty diverse in its character creation as well. There are like characters built for the game that you can play, or you can just create a character from scratch. Class, race, facial features, whatever you want to do.
Okay. Did you use a preset character, or did you start from scratch?
So Butch used a preset character. I made Quentin from our D&D campaign.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so he is a human knight. He's got this really badass armor. Stuff looks really cool. But I think you have to play with 4 people, whether you're playing with actual 4 people or not, which is a little tricky. So what we did, we started off with our characters, but then you start off on a boat, and then you crash onto an island, and you meet the rest of your party on the island. And how it works is you kind of have to control 2 characters at once. Their avatars, like a portrait of them, is up on the left side of the screen, and you can click and drag them. They're kind of like puzzle pieces, and they can snap into each other. And when the portraits are snapped into each other, that means that they walk together. So I can click anywhere on the map, and these 2 characters will walk together to that space. If I need them to separate, I unlink their portraits and then click on who I want to move, and then I can move them to certain different directions.
I see. Okay.
But that's only needed for moving across the map. When you're in battle, everybody gets a turn, and who you are controlling, you have control of their movement and everything, right? So there's 2 characters I control, 2 characters Butch was controlling, and then the rest are enemies. So it would be like Butch's turn for character A, enemy. My turn for character A, enemy. Butch's turn for his character B, enemy. My turn for my character B, enemy. It works like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that sounds very fair. It sounds intuitive.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. I'm sure the ideal way to play is with 4 people, but it's cool that you can do it with however many you want.
Now, naturally, you're playing on keyboard and mouse. This is it's isometric. How is it controlling everything, moving around the maps? Are there any hiccups, any issues?
It's not bad. The camera can be a little wonky sometimes, but it has an option where if you hit the O key, it goes to an overhead, which is directly camera right on top of your head. So you can see things that way. But if you don't want that, you just hit O again, and it goes back to a 45-degree angle from the top,
right.
Which you can move around with the mouse wheel. If you zoom in and out with the mouse wheel, you zoom the camera in and out. Or if you click the mouse wheel in and turn your mouse around, it kind of rotates the camera to the way you want it to. So, yeah,
I see,
it's not bad.
See.
It's a little tricky to get used to, but it's not terrible.
Okay, all right. I'm picking up what you're putting down. It sounded good.
It's really awesome. The graphics are phenomenal. It's running great on my computer, which is really good. And yeah, I think it would be great for us to play. I know it's so hard to get us all together sitting down to play a game. I wish that was something that we could schedule a little bit easier. But if we can make it work, I think this would be a really great game for us to check out.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. Or it'll be like a Dokapon or For the King thing where we have 20 different games of 20 different combinations of players.
And yet somehow every time we get together and decide, let's play a new thing of Dokapon, none of the same people who were there before are playing this time. So we have to start a new file. We can't continue a new one.
Yeah.
How did that happen? How did that happen? Man, Dokapon Kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen at home, if you are not aware, we used to spend hours upon hours playing Dokapon Kingdom.
Yeah.
I don't know how our friendship survived that game.
It's the most frustrating game that you kind of want to play again. And I do kind of want to play it again right now.
Oh man, yeah, memories, fun times.
Yep. But aside from my indie arcade game, which I regrettably have to talk about later, that is it for me. So, Chris, I will pass the baton to you. What are you playing?
Oh man, I cannot wait to hear about Uriel's Chasm too. So I kind of switched it up a little bit this week. Played some games that are off the beaten path a little bit, not the type that I would ordinarily dive into. So the first game that I played was a game that Lewis actually suggested we play. He had his Switch set up, we were just hanging out, and he was like, hey, do you want to play this? And I said, I don't know what it is, but sure. And that game, and I wrote it down so I could try to pronounce it, that game is Taiko no Tatsujin Drum and Fun.
So that's on the Switch?
This game is on the Nintendo Switch. Let me see what else it is available for. It's 100% on the Switch. And oh yeah. Oh, I just looked it up on Wikipedia. There's a whole bunch. It is only on the Nintendo Switch. It is developed and published by Bandai Namco.
Yeah, okay.
This game is super duper Japanese.
Is there like a drum attachment like DK bongos or something that you need?
Absolutely not.
That's good.
Absolutely not. But the game does require... I don't know if it requires you to, but the game naturally is best played in docked mode. So what you do is you dock it and you pull the controllers out, and you have a choice of all sorts of different songs that you can play along to. And the whole idea of the game is it's a drumming rhythm game. And you select whichever song you want to play. There's a ton of anime opening theme songs for a lot of anime that I've never heard of in my entire life, but you play a few of them and it's like, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Like it sounds like something that's fun to drum along to, you know?
Yeah.
And so you choose whichever game you want, and you're like, okay, let's go. And so Lewis and I were competing against one another, and since this was my first time, and I don't have the greatest rhythm of anyone
Okay.
in the world, we started on easy. And so it's like, okay, cool. So, you start out, and these notes are coming across from the right side of the screen over to the left side. And there's like a little line, and the circles, some of them are red, some of them are blue. So you have your Switch controllers in each hand, and you have to drum based on which color is on the screen.
Okay. Gotcha.
So if it's a blue one, you want to hit with the left control, and if it's a red one, you want to hit with the right control. What happens if you have gray Joy-Cons? I can't answer that question for you. So you drum along as they're coming. Big circles that come by, you have to drum, I think, with both sticks at the same time.
It's called a flam in drum lingo.
I see. So you you flam it, and with depending, I don't know if it makes a difference which color it is. Sometimes the giant circle is red. Sometimes the giant circle is blue. It made no difference to me as I just flammed with both of them at the same time, regardless of the circle's color. But it was going really well. I actually beat Lewis a few times.
Hey!
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I got this. This is great. So I'm drumming along, it's like, it was funny because easy mode is like, literally just imagine all these notes. It's like, and then whack, and then whack. And so it's like, okay, so it's like a lot of, like, several seconds are going in between each time as you're like whacking. So some of them, like, they sped it up a little bit and you're drumming along a little bit faster, but it wasn't like crazy. It wasn't something that you'd see in like, I don't know, death metal drumming or something like that.
I want a Chris Gold J-pop theme song.
Well, listen, man, we've got a musician on standby. We gotta talk to Nick. He's gonna have to consult with Lewis and Elena.
Yep.
To get some feedback, but yeah, I think we can make that happen.
I have a question.
Yes.
How responsive is the actual motion of hitting shaking the Joy-Cons as a drumstick? Like, how hard do you have to fling it? Were you having any problems, like, where you did think you flung it and it didn't register or anything like that stuff, or was it pretty spot on?
Okay, so I felt like it was pretty responsive overall with the right Joy-Con. So whenever a red circle was coming by and I was using the right, I would hit it with I thought good timing, and it would hit. And I was like, okay, cool. Then a blue one would come by, and I would use the left one, and I would hit it with what I thought was the same good timing, and it would miss, or it wouldn't be as good a hit as it was before. So I think the left one was a little less responsive than the right one. Now take that with a grain of salt, because, again, my rhythm is not the greatest. So these could have just been simply me genuinely missing the targets. I don't know what you call it when you drum. But
that makes sense.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So it was just a matter of drumming along, and you get to the end of the song, you get your points total, you get like hot streaks going. There are certain sections where it's yellow, and it'll be like a long bar of just a yellow section. That is when you drum just as fast as you can and try to rack up as many points as you can in a very short amount of time. After like 3 or 4 songs, I was noticeably starting to get worse and worse at the game, just because my forearms were screaming in agony as I was going through this. So like the little markers were going by, and I was like trying to whack him, and Lois is just sitting there, and he's going at a good pace. He's like, how you doing over there? And I'm like, oh God, it hurts.
Were you guys playing at the same time, or
same time?
Turns?
Same time. So the song.
So you had 2 sets of Joy-Cons synced to the system.
Correct.
Okay,
got
it.
Yeah. So the song is playing once. He has his bar up top. I have mine at the bottom, depending on who's player 1, player 2, and we're just competing against each other. Our notes that we have to hit are the exact same. It's just a matter of who can actually hit the notes better or more consecutively.
Did a Joy-Con fly out of anybody's hands while this was happening?
It did not.
Wow.
I'm sorry to say that it did not. We kept a good grip on everything. No one's hands got overly sweaty. I mean, not overly sweaty. His hands absolutely got sweaty, but everything stayed right where it needed to be.
Does the game prompt you to use like the wrist strap attachments or no?
It may have. I don't remember. If it did, I ignored it. Just like
skip.
Yeah, just like, oh, be sure if you don't do this, you're in danger. Skip. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear it. It's like, yeah. So, ironically, we finished off with, as we were going, there's like certain sections of songs that you can do. There's actually like classical music, so you can drum along to like da 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 da, stuff like that. And then there's like some more pop type music, and then there's like the anime opening themes, and it's like to famous anime. So you can drum along to the Japanese like Dragon Ball Z opening, and then I found the One Piece opening, and I was like, oh yeah, that one. I want to do that one because anyone who doesn't know, I love One Piece. Zul, he was the big One Piece fan who inspired me. I took up the series, fell in love. So I saw the One Piece opening theme, and I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And it was the one song that Lewis beat me at. I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me.
We'll chalk it up to your sore forearms.
Yeah. So, yeah, that it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's a fun rhythm-based game. If you're, if you want to play something rhythm-based, something different, because ordinarily rhythm games, you have to tap buttons or just hit things. There's no actual like musical element to it. But at least with this game, with Taiko no Tatsujin, there's actually a drumming element to it. So you can actually feel like, okay, there's some musical ability going on here. So it was a lot of fun. It's very bright and colorful and cheerful. Like I said earlier, it's very Japanese. And it's a lot of fun. I recommend it if that sounds like your cup of tea.
Absolutely. I love hearing like off the wall weird stuff on this show, so I'm really glad you guys dug into it.
Yep. And speaking of One Piece, my next game that I played was actually a birthday present from Lewis. Oh. So Lewis is, much to his and Elena's chagrin, aware that I am a One Piece fan. They are not One Piece fans, but that's neither here nor there. They, Lewis got me the video game One Piece Worldseeker for my birthday.
That, I believe, came out last year. I remember reading about that. It's like an open world experience with Luffy or Luffy.
Yeah,
Laffy Taffy.
It is not Laffy. It's not Luffy. It's Luffy.
Okay.
I have this argument with Elena constantly. It's Luffy. God damn it. So, Luffy, it's a non-canon adventure where, if you're unfamiliar with the series, 500,000 foot overview, Luffy is a pirate captain and he wants to be king of the pirates. That's without getting more detailed into it. Which, if we did, that we'd be here for forever and ever. Yeah. The series has been going on for about 20 years now, and within the next 10 years, it's likely to end the way the story is going. But this series is like huge in Japan. It's like huge all over the world, but especially in Japan, it's really resonated with people. There's a long running anime, the manga, books.
Yep.
There's movies. There's merchandise. There's toys. And there are video games. Now, all that extra stuff naturally is non-canon, and Worldseeker is no exception. So this is a non-canon story where you and the rest of the Straw Hat crew, you are infiltrating an island that's essentially a prison island. And you've heard that there's a great treasure here. You can use that treasure to help fund your journey towards becoming the king of the pirates. So you all decide, okay, cool, let's infiltrate this prison and let's take over and let's get the treasure, and then we'll be on our way. But here, it's a trap. This was a trap set by the Marines to try to capture you. So at the start of the game, everyone on the crew kind of got scattered all across the island. So you control Luffy. And your task is you have to traverse the whole island. There's people you need to help and solve different issues with. And you have to reassemble the crew, get the treasure, beat the bad guys, and then hightail it off to your next great adventure.
Right.
So the very first thing, as soon as you start up the game, this game takes a long time to install. A very long time. So even to the point where, okay, you pop in the PS4 disc and you have the game like, oh, download is needed. You have to install, so you have to wait for all of that. Okay? So you wait for the game to download, install, and then it says, oh, it's installed. Game's ready to go. Okay, cool. You load up the game. Main story. You try to load it up, and you get a pop-up telling you main story mission not loaded yet. The game is still in the process of installing the main story. So at this point, the only thing I could do was actually a free fight. And so that is, you do that and it drops you in the middle of your ship, and it's pretty much just a never-ending swarm of Marines are attacking you, and you have to beat them up. Now, it's actually a sneaky, clever way for the game to teach you the controls before you actually dive into the game.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. It eventually becomes clear this wasn't the intentions of the game developers, but I'll get to that in a second. So, I drop down onto the ship, and Marines are attacking you left and right. Now, Luffy, it should be said, again, if you're not familiar with this series, 100,000 foot overview, he is a rubber man. He can stretch, not infinitely, but he can stretch as far as his body can possibly stretch, assuming it was made of rubber. So if you've never seen the series before, he can throw a fist and it can go like hundreds of yards, and he could swell his body up because it's made of rubber. Yeah, he can deflect bullets because they can't pierce his rubbery skin. He bounces all over the place. He's a goofball. It's fun. It's a great time. So you're playing as Luffy, and you're fighting against these Marines, and you have to dodge, and you throw your punches, and you're just throwing like a huge flurry of blows left and right, and you're just beating the hell out of these poor defenseless saps. You're like jumping in the air, you're swinging your leg around, and whap, just like cracking them in the head. And then you hit like the special attack button, and that unleashes like this powerful attack that just like explodes everything in front of you, and literally like you just don't see bodies in front of you once the smoke clears. Everyone's just gone. And
oh god.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit, okay. And it's literally just it's a good way to you roll around, you're moving around, you see how the camera controls right stick, left stick moves you. It's all pretty standard, cut and dry, basic attacks, and then you get the pop-up saying, hey, the main story is loaded up. So you're like, okay, cool. Go into that, you get a cool cinematic where you first arrive on the island, and everyone is scattered to the winds, and you meet up with these locals who, they're just trying to live their life on the island before the Marines took over and turned it into a prison island, so you're probably going to have to help them retake their island from the Marines and free them. It's at this point the game teaches you that, oh no, that whole free fight thing from before, that was not to teach you the controls. We're going to teach you the controls right now. And and here's what they do. They unlock each button that you can use one at a time.
Oh, no.
So you're standing there talking to these people, and you try to move. Your left stick doesn't work. Then you get a tutorial prompt that says, use the R stick to move the camera. And you have to move the camera to look over there, where you have to walk to next to get to the next area of the map. You can do that. You can move the camera to look over there, but you cannot do anything else. Then it says use the L stick to move over there. So you mosey on over there. Then it tells you, oh, press the left stick to the edge to run, or press it in the L3 to sprint. Then you can sprint everywhere you want to go. You can't throw any attacks at this point. Pressing the other buttons does nothing. Then you meet certain Marines, and you say, oh, if you hit square, you could throw a punch. And so you now you can throw punches.
Oh man.
Yeah, and so this game very slowly unlocks these buttons for you to teach you, okay, if you want to do this, you gotta, like, now you can do it. So you can't just drop in and do whatever you want as soon as the game loads up. Like, the game has to allow you to do these certain controls.
Oh, that's a weird tutorial.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, that's not great, unfortunately. But
how long did it take until you were able to have full control?
Honestly, not that long. I'd say maybe like probably a half hour or so into the game. I mean, it's definitely long enough where you're playing the game and you just want to get into it, and start doing
the
thing.
The principle of the thing.
Yeah, and you're just like, come on, like, yeah, you don't want to have to sit around and wait for all this to finish up, and you don't want the game to allow you to do certain actions. I just want to jump in and just start wrecking fools left and right. Like I'm gonna be the king of the pirates someday. You're telling me I have to be allowed to jump
to walk,
at certain points,
run.
Yeah, like literally to scratch my ass. Like every single thing I had to be given permission to do. So, I mean, it's fine. Eventually, the controls open up and the game opens up and you can go wherever. Now, I kind of stopped like once I got to the first main village, but yeah, I mean, I see the potential of this game. I see the promise. I love the idea that you can like go wherever and do whatever. It's really the first open world game in the One Piece series where you can actually like flex your muscles as Luffy. A lot of the games before were a lot of like fighting based games where you got to choose which characters to play as and then you would fight them. Traditional like 2D fighting game. So this is definitely a new direction for the series in terms of video games. So I'm excited to see where it goes. It looks like it could be a lot of fun. It's just that I know this well. If you're going to go into this game, that opening tutorial is annoying. So clear eyes, clear mind, open heart. When you go in, just know exactly what it is you're getting into.
All right, well, thank you for the warning. I hope you get to spend some more time with it and get a little deeper and let us know, what the full game experience is like. And I hope it's fun. It sounds like it could be really cool, open world adventure game for a series that you really admire. So, I hope it lives up to what you want it to be.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. I mean, the game did get pretty good reviews. It's not like amazing reviews, but the game is still fairly well reviewed. So yeah. I have no doubts that it's going to be a solid experience. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
All right, so that's going to do it for me, but that is not going to do it for you, Justin. We've come to the part that I've really been anticipating this whole episode. It is time for the Indie Arcade.
Indie Arcade.
If you remember from last time, I assigned Justin the indie game Uriel's Chasm 2 to play. So Justin, take it away.
Okay. If you haven't, I suggest going back to last episode and listening to Chris's very in-depth explanation of the original Uriel's Chasm game. Because, as we've said before, this is a sequel, hence the 2 at the end. Why there is a sequel? Why there is a threequel? I don't know. We'll never know the answer to these questions. It's kind of like, where do we go when we die? Or, that sort of thing. Just stuff we'll never know the answers to.
God works in mysterious ways.
Speaking of God, the first game, as Chris talked about, had very, very heavy religious overtones. The sequel definitely follows suit in that. You know, a lot of Uriel's Chasm 2 is very similar to what you explained, Chris, from the original. I was hoping it would be, things would be improved upon, but really it's just the same thing displayed differently.
The best kinds of sequels, where you just take the old game and just put a fresh coat of paint on it and re-release it.
Yeah. So I didn't look at too many screen grabs of the original. Just a couple, and it didn't look great. I will say that the sprite graphics look a lot nicer in Uriel's Chasm 2. Kind of like some pretty detailed, like Super Nintendo-esque quality at some points, which is pretty cool. If you recall, last week Chris had a very difficult time trying to put a finger on the genre of Uriel's Chasm. Uriel's Chasm 2 does nothing to help in that regard, because it's still kind of the same idea of just, about like 6 minutes in, this one word came to mind about this experience, and it was with me till the end, and it was the word mess. As in, this game is a mess in so many different ways.
That is a solid word to describe the series up to this point.
It doesn't know what kind of game it wants to be. It doesn't do a very good job of telling whatever kind of story it wants to tell. And it's just a mess of like color and graphics and music that just none of it really seems to blend together very well. I'm not sure what time period we're in. Like, are we in the past? Are we in the future? I mean, like, the theme is very like sci-fi, but the heavy-handed like religious like story. I don't know if the original followed any like story specifically from the Bible. But Uriel's Chasm 2 seems to follow the Cain and Abel story a lot. Or at least they read it to you like very in a very annoying, very thorough way.
See, that sounds more like the Uriel's Chasm experience, rather than like, oh, let's retell the story. Let's literally tell you the story of Cain and Abel. While other things unrelated to the story of Cain and Abel are happening all around you.
So, it's broken up in weird segments. The first segment is like, it's like half of a drawing of the main character's face. You are this blue girl. I'm not sure who you are. It's not really explained. Maybe it's Uriel. I don't know. I'm not sure. But you're definitely not a space nun like you were in the first game, which was a lot cooler. So you're like this blue girl with like purple hair, and it's just a close-up of her face, and there's just static text on the screen that's all about like, and the Lord said, Cain shall give thy son, and Abel shall sacrifice thy son to the Lord, and just like, really going on and on about this story that you probably don't really care about too much because it has nothing really to do with the game. Yeah, like you said, wall of text. Like, there was just a lot of text, and you're kind of just waiting for it to go through. And this one didn't have a voiceover, weirdly enough, because the first one did. But it's just text on the screen for you to read, which does take a while for it to actually go away. But when it finally goes away, you are abruptly thrown into a shoot-'em-up scenario where you are, I guess, the girl on a spaceship fighting this hideous, like, gargoyle dragon monster. Just, like, out of nowhere, no explanation of who that is, who you are, why you're here, why you're fighting it, but you just start shooting at this thing.
Oh, God.
Last week, Chris, you described during your shoot-'em-up sections of the first game how poorly laid out the screen was and how limited amount of space you had to see what you were doing. I'm happy to say in Uriel's Chasm 2, instead of 3/4 of the screen being taken up with useless like information bars and stuff, only half the screen is taken up with useless information bars.
So they're getting better.
Yeah, so it's split right down the middle. The left half of the screen is you flying and shooting in the actual game, and the entire right half of the screen is a bunch of bars and information that I'm still not sure what more than half of it was. There was a bar that said the enemy's life, obviously, but then there was one that said reason and one that said mercy or something, and they were just going up and down constantly and didn't really seem to have any effect about what I was doing. There were three giant sixes on the bottom of the screen, like 666, that were lit up.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the imagery of that, but I'm not sure what they were there for because they just took up a quarter of the screen. Yeah, so a bunch of mess on the side of the screen. The music is like this, I guess you would call it space techno or something, because it's sci-fi techno, very fast, like but the weird part is there is a constant bongo soundtrack in the background, and in the corner of the screen is this little blue blob sprite that's wearing a fedora, sunglasses, and has a goatee. And he, I guess, is the one playing the bongos. And in the screen, you just see this little blue guy just playing the bongos. No explanation of who he is or why he's there. But he's just there. He's rocking out while you are simultaneously flying your ship and trying to beat this hideous space dragon.
I'm just imagining the game's director, like, listening to the soundtrack. He's wearing shades. He's, like, puffing on a cigar, staring off, kind of, like, not at anything, but he's just staring off into the distance. And he's hearing the soundtrack, and he's like, you know what this shit needs? More bongos.
Yeah.
Bongos, boss? Bongos! Get me the fucking bongos!
Smacks the guy in the back of the head.
The poor overworked assistant. Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Yeah.
I'm flummoxed. Why is there a little blue man, a little cool blue man playing the bongos in space?
I mean, he was really into it, so I'm happy for him. But I just don't know why he was there. And you know, so I somehow, the space dragon's attack thing that it was doing the entire time was shooting out different fruit at you, circles of fruit. So it would shoot out like a circle of bananas, watermelon, apples, grapes, like, and you know, it was just a giant circle of tiny little sprite fruits that would come towards you that you had to move out of the way of because it was its attack, and if the fruit hit you, you would take damage. That seemed to be the thing's only attack. It just kept doing it in different ways, shooting this very brightly colored, vividly colored fruit at you while you're trying to avoid it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I somehow get through it. I survive. I kill this thing. And we go to the third part of the game, which is the weirdest part of the game, which is crazy because what I just said was not the weirdest part of the game.
Go on.
Yeah. So now it's a top-down view of your character, like an isometric view of, you know, this blue girl standing in a giant field that has 8 trees in it. And, you know, again, this is half the screen because the right half of the screen is taken up with new different bars and information that is still confusing. And I guess on the bottom right of the screen are little tree images that represent the 8 trees that are in the field. And some of these trees are turning orange on that screen. And when you go to that tree in the game, a lightning bolt comes down and hits that tree. I think it's supposed to be God is attacking the trees or something. There were more biblical references that I just didn't really understand that were just kind of happening. And when the lightning bolt would hit a tree, a bunch of these little fire orbs would come out of it. Now, your character has equipped what I think it was kind of hard to tell. I think it was a watering can, and when you click, you would spread out. You would pour out the watering can, and little blue orbs would come out, which I guess would fight the red orbs. So I guess you're trying to put out the fire with your water orbs, and on the right side of the screen, it would tell you how many fire orbs there were versus how many water orbs there were. I don't really know what I was supposed to do there. I just saw the fire, I just poured the water, and then I kept moving around the screen, trying to figure out what to do. I realized that I needed to refill my water gauge, which was one of my 24 gauges that was on the right side of the screen. So I went down to the bottom of the screen, where there was a lake of water, and standing in front of the lake of water was the bongo guy. And he was still playing bongos. And you can't talk to him. You can't interact with him. He just basically has a message next to him that says, this is where you can refill your power, which I guess was the water in the watering can. So you go over, you talk to him, you fill up your water, and then you continue trying to put out the fire orbs. And then I guess I succeeded because it abruptly cut back to the first thing that was in the game of the close-up of your character's face and a wall of text of like Bible verses and quotes and stuff that was incredibly long. I skipped through that and then I'm abruptly put back into another space shoot 'em up with another demon space monster that's shooting fruit at me. Somehow I was able to beat that, and I'm back to the tree segment again, putting out these fire orbs with my water orbs, and by that time I realized I had enough. It had been past the time I was required to play, and I closed the ever fucking X out of that game.
I feel like my brain started to melt halfway through you describing that second sequence with the fire orbs and the water orbs. I'm at a loss. I don't know what to say. This all sounds extremely terrible.
The worst part is, I think you would be more confused if you played it. I think somehow my confusing rendition of this abomination makes more sense than actually sitting down and playing it yourself.
Oh my god. You know what? Maybe this whole experience playing the Uriel's Chasm trilogy, maybe this is a sign that we need to brush up on our Bible more, because maybe if we read the Bible more frequently, we would get all of these references and we would understand where they are coming from with these games.
No.
All right, fine. I didn't want to read the Bible anyway. That's okay.
Oh man! Because even if somehow the story is this enlightening thing, the gameplay is still absolute trash, and like just the overall presentation is again a mess. Ugh.
I bet even if you just like grabbed the most hardcore Christian, like most evangelical person on the planet, sat them down to play these games, they would be like, yeah, this shit sucks. this is just terrible.
You know how I feel right now? I'm angry that I didn't make my questions for you harder, because I do not want to play Uriel's Chasm 3, and I'm sweating bullets right now.
Oh man, you and me both. I don't want to play this shit any more than you. Man, we're gonna be like gunning for each other's throats here. Now I'm worried I didn't make my questions harder enough.
During the break, we're gonna completely write new questions that are just.
We're just gonna be like, this son of a bitch. Yeah, you're gonna play that shit.
But yes, that is Uriel's Chasm 2. Now, I had made a deal with myself that I didn't want to assign you another shitty game to play this week, as much as I wanted to after how terribly cruel of a prank that was of giving me Uriel's Chasm 2.
You gave me Uriel's Chasm 1 first.
I know, but the fuck back with the sequel? Oh, God. Dirty move. Hilarious move, but dirty move.
Look, it's all about the likes, baby.
So, I had in my brain, I wanted to give you a good game to play.
Okay.
But I didn't know what. So, I'm on Steam. I'm looking around. It's the Lunar Sale. I've got to find something good. I'm looking under indie new releases. And, you know, as much as I wanted to give you something crazy, I just couldn't quite do that. But then, a stroke of luck.
Oh.
I found a game that looks absolutely crazy, but is also overwhelmingly positive in reviews. And I think it will fit both bills. I think it will be a good game for you to play, but it also will be an insane game for you to play that will satisfy my need for revenge.
Okay.
So, without further ado,
Wasn't aware revenge was playing into this.
this game is on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
It is very positive, so don't freak out yet. It's also free, completely free.
Oh,
you don't need to spend a dime.
Oh, no.
I'm just going to go for it. The game I'm assigning you this week, I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger-licking good dating simulator.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger-licking good dating simulator, follows you, a promising culinary student, as you try to date your classmate, Colonel Sanders.
Son of a...
Throughout your journey, you'll be faced with life-changing decisions that will affect your chances of friendship and love. But be careful, your choices have real consequences, with real animated characters' feelings at stake.
Oh... No, I heard about this game. Oh, God.
So this game is exactly what you think it is. It is a Japanese-style dating sim game with starring yours truly, your favorite, Colonel Sanders from Kentucky Fried Chicken. This game is, in fact, officially created by KFC. It's not a joke. They really did work on this with developer Psyop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
Yes. This game has great features, including 9 lovable characters, multiple hours of playthrough, a dateable Colonel Sanders, secret ending, secret recipes, cooking battles, battle battles.
Earn a degree from a fictional culinary school, 11 herbs and spices. Cute miniature food and officially created by KFC. No, really.
Yeah, I think this is going to be super weird, but actually super good, too. So I think you're really going to have a lot of fun with this.
I feel like this is revenge for a lot of different things. My Horse Prince, Rabby Ribby. I feel like this is revenge for a lot of that, all wrapped into one.
You know, if this is anything like Dream Daddy, which I actually surprisingly had a lot of fun with, I think you're really going to have a ball with this one. So that was
a legitimately good game.
Yeah, it was.
Look at the user defined tags for this product. The very first one is masterpiece. Oh my god. Oh wow. So I'm looking at one of these screenshots, and there's this one girl who's in my class. Her name is Ashley, spelled Aeshleigh.
Oh boy.
And she's my arch rival. And according to this thing, she's totally evil, but you can't help but be filled with jealousy. She can get anything she wants, and she knows it. She's got purple hair that's like way, way long, and for some reason, she has a heart-shaped hole in her shirt on top of her chest, so you can see her cleave, but it's heart-shaped.
Yep.
Like, oh god, there's Professor Dog. Oh, why?
I think we are forgetting to mention just how absolutely sexy they made Colonel Sanders in this game.
Colonel Sanders is really hot.
Yeah, they really made him look good.
He's almost as hot as a steamy bucket of freshly fried chicken that you can only get from your local KFC. KFC, its finger looking good.
The animation and drawings are like fantastic. Like, I really love when something so weird has like such dedication to it, and yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a good example of that. So, yeah, and even the hand drawn food looks great. I'm getting pretty hungry looking at this stuff.
I'm upset. This is well animated too. God damn it. This better be good. I swear this better be good.
I want you to go to KFC for dinner the day that you start playing this game.
I'm gonna have to. It sucks because I love Popeyes better. but now I gotta...
Don't tell that to Colonel Sanders. Come on, you're trying to woo this dude.
I know, that's gonna, like, if I was, like, all positive, and then I said, oh yeah, I prefer Popeyes, it would be, all the way down to 0. I'd blow it.
Alright, well, while you get ready to lick your fingers here, what do you say we take a quick break, and when we come back, we will dive into our Video Game Quiz Time Supreme for 2020.
Oh, baby.
Welcome back to Press A Repeatedly. Justin Thompson here with Christopher Gold, and it is time for our first Video Game Quiz Time Supreme of the new year. A lot's on the table, as we discussed earlier. The loser is being forced to play Uriel's Chasm 3. Each of us have played each of the first 2 games, and we're both sweating it.
I do not want to play this game. I am going to do everything I can to make sure that Justin finishes off the trilogy and I get to gloat and laugh in his face.
Yeah, I will be doing the same because my wounds are fresher, as Chris has had a week to heal from the first Uriel's Chasm, so...
It doesn't make it any easier.
It does not. It does not. Yep, so how this works, we each have 5 questions. They are multiple choice, A, B, and C. We're going to keep track of, who basically has got more right than wrong. In the event of a tie, we both have 1 tiebreaker. I guess I didn't think about if we both tie after the tiebreaker, but I guess we'll figure that out if it comes to it.
We'll deal with that if it comes to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this should be fine. I made my questions a little challenging, but not too challenging. My questions actually, surprise, surprise, Justin, followed a bit of a theme.
Ooh.
In an effort to make them a little bit more challenging. None of them are Nintendo related.
Wow.
None of them are Nintendo related. So this is all going to be stuff that is not stuff that a Nintendo exclusive fan would know.
I don't like hearing that, but all right.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. All right.
Okay.
So last time we did something. Okay, so for the 5 most anticipated games, you went first.
Yes.
So then I think for the Quiz Time Supreme, I'll go first.
You will go first, as in asking or receiving?
I will ask you the question, and then you will answer the question. Then you'll ask your question, and we'll go back and forth.
Got it. Well, let's get started.
All right, so let us kick this off with the first question of the Quiz Time Supreme.
Oh, boy.
All right. Which of these game series debuted first? A. Uncharted, B. Gears of War, or C. Mass Effect?
Oh, wow. They were kind of all around the same time. I think Uncharted's first game was on PS3, if I'm not mistaken. For some reason, I don't think Uncharted was on PS2. I could be wrong. Mass Effect, I think, is the newest of the 3. I think it is Gears of War on the original Xbox. I will go with that. I forget what letter that was, but Gears of War.
You're going with Gears of War.
Yes.
All right. So, Justin, you are correct.
Hey!
Yep, you are actually right about Mass Effect being the newest one. Mass Effect came out November 20th, 2007. Uncharted came out for the PS3 November 19th, 2007. So literally one day ahead of Mass Effect.
Wow.
But both games came out 1 year after Gears of War, which debuted on the Xbox 360 in November of 2006.
Oh, wow. So that wasn't an original Xbox game?
No, it was not. Yeah, that was those games were all from the prior generation before this one.
Huh.
Yes, so bravo to you. You've got one out of one.
Got lucky. We'll go with that.
Yeah, you answered that one pretty quickly. I think you sound yourself short.
All right, let's see. I also have a theme, and my theme is that there is no theme for these questions.
Whoa!
Yeah, these are all random. Nintendo is involved, so you are lucky on that one. Let's get started here. My first question to you, Chris. Which of these Mario franchises has not been made into an arcade cabinet version? A. Mario Kart, B. Luigi's Mansion, or C. Mario Party?
Okay. All right. So I know for an absolute fact that Mario Kart has been made into an arcade cabinet. I've played it before at Dave & Buster's. So already Mario Kart is out.
Okay.
So, this is between Luigi's Mansion and Mario Party. I feel like just in terms of which one would be more arcadey, Luigi's Mansion, I can imagine having like a little booth where you have a little suction-y thing and you aim it around the screen to suck up ghosts that are like coming towards you. Where Mario Party, like you're moving around like a whole screen and you have to compete with other people. You're hitting the button. I don't think that one translates as well to an arcade cabinet. but it seems too obvious. I don't want to overthink it. No, screw it. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to say Mario Party has not been made into an arcade.
You are correct.
Yeah!
Nice job. Yeah, now that the way you laid it out made me think that's kind of stupid, actually, because having people sit down and play Mario Party or stand around an arcade cabinet and play Mario Party would take forever.
It would take so long.
Yeah.
Like there'd be lines of people outside, like, "Come on, man, hurry up!"
Unless it was some kind of a bridge Mario Party where it's just like you kind of pick a mini game and play it that way or something. But yeah, you're right.
I guess, yeah.
There's a Mario Kart Grand Prix. I never played that. I didn't know you played that. That's awesome. You like sit down and behind like a wheel and stuff, right?
You literally sit down in like a little mini cart or something. You control the wheel, and it's just like you do any other cart type game in the arcade.
How did it feel?
Yeah, it felt fun. Yeah, it was a good time. It was a while ago, but yeah, it's it's a solid Mario Kart experience.
Yeah. And there is a Luigi's Mansion one. I think it's just like you said. There is like a poltergust that you can hold on to and suck up ghosts that way. I think that is at Dave and Buster's now as well. I've never actually been to Dave and Buster's, so I know. I'm missing
really?
it,
well, we got to go at some point.
Let's do it.
It's pretty cool. Dave and Buster's is not a sponsor of the show. You can say that.
That ringing endorsement.
All right, so this one is a little bit ago off mic. I told you one of these I was not sure about because I thought it was a little too simple, but here we go.
Okay.
Number 2. Which of these Ratchet and Clank titles is fake? A. Going Commando, B. Size Matters, or C. Buff, Lubed, and Ready to Go?
I know for a fact Going Commando is a Ratchet and Clank game. I wasn't sure about the second one, but that third one, I can't. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know if you can put like lubed in a title and get away with it.
I mean, they could argue that they're robots. Like, they deal with a lot of machinery.
That is true.
You've got clanks.
Like a jiffy lube.
I mean, you've got to lube up the machinery so that it runs more smoothly.
That's true. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just gonna go with, just because of how much that made me laughed upon first hearing. I'm gonna go with buff, lubed, and ready to go.
You are correct. So, Ratchet and Clank, they always had the more risque subheaders for their games. So they had like Going Commando. They had Up Your Arsenal.
Yes, okay, I remember that one.
One of the later games did have one that was called Size Matters. But yeah, no, they did not have one called Buff, Lubed, and Ready to Go.
It's so long too.
That was my big concern. That was my one tell. I was like, oh, this is too long. But I'm like, oh, whatever.
All right, cool. I'll take it. This is weird, but my next question is basically the same exact question, but with a different franchise.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how that happened, but it happened, and here we go.
Very
number
good.
2. Which of the following is not actually a subtitle of a Bubsy game? Is it A, Claws Encounters of the Furred Kind, B, Fur-Bitten Planet, or C, Brawl of Claws?
What was that last one?
Brawl, B-R-A-W-L,
Mm-hmm.
of Claws, C-L-A-W-S.
Brawl of Claws.
Yeah.
See, that one sounds the most obviously fake, just because it's not a stupid pun of something. Claws encountered of the furred kind. 100% sounds like a stupid Bubsy subtitle. The other one is Forbidden Planet, which also sounds stupid as shit. God. Brawl of Claws. What even is Brawl of Claws? Like, that doesn't make sense. I'm saying Brawl of Claws.
You got it.
There you go.
Brawl of Claws, I made up. Claws encounters of the furred kind. Apparently that was the first Bubsy game. Had that terribly long and terrible pun name. And Forbidden Planet was somewhere in the middle.
And now Forbidden Planet, is that like Forbidden Planet?
Yes it is.
Of course.
I think Attack of the Woolies was the most recent Bubsy game.
Yeah, that one's not like a cat-related pun.
Yeah, well, but it's still a terrible game.
Always consistent, that Bubsy.
All right, so we are all good so far.
All right, knotted up, 2 apiece. All right. We're really sweating. This is going to be like one mistake does us in.
Maybe if we tie completely, we both get our tiebreakers right, then neither of us has to play Uriel's Chasm 3.
You know what? I like that compromise.
All right.
I like that a lot. Okay, so new rule. We're changing the game. All right. My third question to you, Justin. The super soldiers in the Halo franchise are called A. Guardians, B. Spartans, or C. Javelins.
Oof. I think Guardians is from Destiny. Javelins sounds cool, but Spartans is the one that sounds most familiar to me. Like, that one's kind of like sending a signal in my brain. I only played the first 2 Halo games, but I used to play a lot of Halo 2 with my cousins because the multiplayer in that was really fun. I'm going to go with Spartans.
Well, you would be correct.
Hey! All right.
Did not know you played the Halo games, or I would not have put the question on the quiz. Yes.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. So, yes, Spartans are the super soldiers in the Halo franchise. Guardians, you are correct, are from Destiny, and Javelins are the name of... that's the name of the armored soldiers from Anthem.
Oh.
Yes. Bet you weren't expecting an Anthem reference in this episode.
Surely I was not.
Yep, so yeah, that one goes out to Noah out in Minneapolis, the last Anthem fan.
Right.
We love you, Noah.
All right, Chris, you ready for this one?
I am ready.
Question 3. In 1981, Bill Gates worked on a video game about driving a car and avoiding what type of animal? Is it A, a donkey, B, a cow, or C, a frog? Chris and I are video streaming right now, and you listening at home can't see the way he's putting his head in his hands.
There's no way for me to know this. All right, so my options were a donkey, a cow, or a frog.
Yep.
This was Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, the Bill Gates, yes.
The Bill Gates, founder of Microsoft, billionaire philanthropist.
Yep.
He helped design a game, worked on this game.
Yep, he worked on the code with somebody else. Like he wrote the game.
And you are driving a car where you are avoiding an animal.
An animal.
Is it a donkey? Is it a cow? Or is it a frog? Mm-hmm. Well, good boy. All right. So, I would think that donkey just sounds too, like, uncommon an animal. Like, if I'm building a video game and I'm like, oh, I want to put an animal in this, donkey isn't going to be something that springs to my mind. Also, because considering 1981, you have to like kind of make it look like a donkey, and with the limited pixel art at the time, I think a donkey would be too much work. So I'm going to say no to the donkey. So it's between the cow and the frog. The cow or the frog? Since, I mean, okay. I've got to apply logic to this, which to an early 80s video game is nonsense, but here we go. Okay, so when you're driving down a road, which one are you going to be more concerned about hitting with your car? A cow or a frog? You hit a frog, you're not even going to notice.
Yeah.
You hit a cow, you're going to notice.
That is true.
So, I have to go with cow.
Chris, you have to go with cow. Unfortunately,
No!
cow is incorrect. The answer was donkey.
Oh, frick! Son of a bitch! Now I'm the ass.
Donkey.bas, or maybe it's donkey.bos, I don't know. It was a computer game written in 1981, included in early versions of the PC and DOS operating system. It's basically your car that's driving, and all you can do is move left or right, and sometimes a donkey walks out onto the road, and you gotta try and avoid it.
I'm not going to enjoy playing Uriel's Chasm 3.
Look, that was a tough one. I think that was the toughest one from my question, so you still got some time to make up, so I think you'll be okay.
All right. I gotta, hopefully one of my last two questions here can trip you up. All right. Number 4. Which one of these methods was not a unique way to kill the end boss from Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater? A, stealing his medicine, B, shooting him earlier in the game, or C, waiting for him to die of old age?
Did you actively look up games that I didn't really play for your question?
If I did, I wouldn't have picked Halo.
Oh, man. Can you read the question one more time?
Okay, so which one of these methods was not a unique way to kill the end boss? So the boss was called The End from Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
Of course it was. End Man.
So yeah, so of these 3 options, one of these is not a way to kill them.
Okay.
A, stealing his medicine, B, shooting him earlier in the game, or C, waiting for him to die of old age.
I know Kojima likes to do really weird stuff. I know there was stuff like a code for something was on the back of the box of one of the games that you had to look up.
Yeah, that's true. In the original Metal Gear Solid, you had to contact, I think it was Meryl? I don't remember. And the channel that you needed to use was on the back of the box, and that was the only way you could find which channel it was.
Yeah. It's crazy. So, Metal Gear's kind of like a stealthy game. I'm sure stealing stuff is quite involved. Stealing the medicine sounds quite plausible. Shooting him earlier in the game. Huh. I guess that could happen and me like tied in with the story. But I guess it might. What happens if you don't shoot him? I guess you have to kill him a different way then. And old age, waiting for him to die from old age sounds ridiculous. But is it Kojima ridiculous? Where he would think, It's brilliant.
Kojima-san, we can't make people wait that long.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, and how would that work with the story? I don't know what the end boss is, if it's an old man or not. I'm. It's just a little too weird. I'm gonna say that waiting for him to die of old age is not a real way to kill this guy.
All right. So that is your answer.
Yeah.
And that is incorrect.
Is it?
Yes.
It's shooting him, isn't it? Is it shooting him?
Nope. It's
No?
It's stealing his medicine.
Oh, the one I thought made the most sense.
Yep.
I should have thought about that. It was a Kojima question. Whatever makes
Yes.
the most sense is clearly not what the answer will be.
So the end is a very old man who is also
Okay.
an expert sniper. Earlier in the game, now you encounter him as you play through the game normally. You'll encounter his boss battle, right? And it's literally a sniper versus sniper battle where he's hiding out in the middle of the woods and you have to find him and shoot him. And meanwhile, he's doing the same to you. So it's like very tense back and forth. You can avoid that fight entirely in one of two ways. One, earlier in the game, there's a cutscene where he's talking with like the main bosses or whatever, and he's about to go into like a bunker. If you have a particular weapon by that point in the game, you can actually shoot him in the back of the head and kill him before he goes into the bunker. So you can
Wow.
actually take him out earlier. And then that later boss battle is just replaced with like a fight against a bunch of grunts. Like a ton of grunts. Or, in the middle of that one battle, the boss battle, you can pause the game and just walk away from the system for at least a week. 1 week later, you turn the game back on, and the end will have died of old age. He will literally just have just died, and you'll have won the battle.
You have to leave the game paused for a week for that to work?
No, you pause in the middle of that battle, and then I think I don't think you have to, like, you just have to pause in the middle of that battle and then resume the battle later. So you can turn the system off and then come back in, because the game will read the system's settings and will realize, okay, it's been at least a week, so the guy will be dead at that point. So yes,
I mean,
you can shoot. So you can shoot him early in the game, or you can wait him out for him to die of old age. But he does not take any medicine that we know of. There is no medicine to steal.
Crazy or brilliant, you decide.
That's the Kojima way.
It is interesting. I'll give him that.
All right. So, So you've got one wrong. I've got one wrong.
Right. But it's time to get a little crazy with this next question.
Oh, boy.
This next question is kind of a return of a certain question that I asked in a previous quiz time game that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Question 4. Which goofy video game name title is not real?
I hate this question every time. Every time you ask me this damn question.
I couldn't resist.
Of course not. Uriel's Chasm 3 is on the line. I should have known.
Uriel's Chasm 3 could have been on this question. Alright. 2 of these are real. 1 of these is not. Let's find out. A. Sorry, I have to try and read these with a straight face.
Do what you can.
Which goofy video game name title is not real? A. Keith Courage in Alpha Zones. B. Nanny of the Past Moon. And C. Ninja Baseball Bat Man.
That last one sounds so much like Dark Death Evil Man. Like, it's so reminiscent. They could be cousins. Alright, so what was the first one? It was Keith Courage in
Alpha Zones. Zone.
In Alpha Zone. Keith Courage in Alpha Zone.
Zones with an S at the end.
In Alpha Zones. Okay.
Of course, yes.
Alright, so he is in Alpha Zones.
Yes.
This Keith Courage. Keith Courage sounds like a character that someone may have been like, oh, he's a hero. He's Keith Courage. And they tried to make a series out of him. It went nowhere because up until this point, his name has never been uttered by anyone. So I think Keith Courage is real. I think Keith Courage is in the Alpha Zones right now, doing Lord knows what. So that leaves the last two.
Okay.
What was the second one? Nanny something?
Nanny of the Past Moon. Moon. Nanny of the Past Moon.
Nanny of the Past Moon. Or
Ninja Baseball Batman.
Ninja Baseball Batman. Alright, so Nanny of the Past Moon or Ninja Baseball Batman. This sucks. This is so hard.
I'm unclear if Batman is that he is a bat or a bat as in a baseball bat. I don't know.
It could be a Batman, like, I am the vengeance.
It could be.
Yeah, it's a ninja with a baseball, and he's Batman. I mean, it could run afoul of all the copyright laws, but they could go for it. All right, Nanny of the Past Moon. Nanny of the Past Moon. What would that be? All right, so similarly to Keith Courage, I could see Ninja Baseball Batman being a thing. Like, oh, kids, like, they love baseball. They love ninjas. Let's put ninjas and baseball in the same game. And you're just a baseball playing ninja.
Yeah, it is a pretty 90s sounding game.
It's a super 90s sounding concept. Whereas Nanny of the Past Moon, that sounds either like a weird RPG, or it sounds like a video game adaptation of the classic sitcom starring Fran Drescher, where you are the nanny.
Do you play?
Mr. Sheffield flees to the moon to escape, and she's like, "No, come back!" And she flies to the moon to get him back. And so now you're a nanny on the past moon. See, I'm having a lot of trouble trying to wrap my head around this particular concept.
Got you.
So, I'm going to guess that Nanny of the Past Moon is the fake one.
You are correct.
Yes! Yes! I think this is the first one I've ever guessed right.
I think the one that involved Dark Death Evil Man, I think you got that one right, too.
Oh, man, I'd have to go back and listen to the tape. But, yes. Oh, I'm so glad I got this one right.
It's just so fun to do these because you can put any gibberish together and anything. It's viable. Yeah.
Anything could work. Oh, man.
Nicely done.
Yes. Oh, good. Oh, I'm so happy. All right. Number 5. This is my last regular question to you.
Okay.
All right. Which of these games was included in Valve's Orange Box collection, released in 2007? A. Half-Life, B. Portal, or C. Left 4 Dead? Which of those games was in the orange box?
I really don't think it's Left 4 Dead. I think it's either Half-Life or Portal. I thought they were both in there, but maybe I guess I'm wrong. I'm gonna have to pick one here. Oh God, this is tough. How many orange boxes? There's only one, right?
There was only the one orange box.
Yeah. I remember that being a big thing. Wow, this is like a 50-50. Okay. I'm going to say Portal. Final answer.
Portal is your final answer?
Yes.
Well, good for you, because
Yeah!
Portal is right.
Awesome. Oh God, that was...
Yep. The original, the orange box had Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, Portal, and Team Fortress 2.
And Nanny of the Past Moon.
Yes. So, yep, that does it for my regular questions. So, good job, Justin. You only got one of those wrong.
Wow.
But that's not the end of the questions.
No, it's not. Great questions. I'm very happy with 4 right. But Chris, you have a chance to tie me right here and go into the tiebreaker round with this final question. And if I were you, I would be smiling because this question involves 2 things that I know you really enjoy. One being video games, and one being voice acting.
Ooh.
Number 5 here. In the original PS1 Spyro game from 1998, Spyro is voiced by the same actor who voices A. Arnold from Hey Arnold, B. Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life, or C. SpongeBob from SpongeBob.
Never really played Spyro. Trying to think back to that era, and I'm digging deep in the crevices of my mind right now, trying to think back to what Spyro sounded like, because I didn't play the games, but the voice sounded familiar, and it was in that late '90s era. Where
I bet you could name all 3 of these voice actors.
Okay, so who are the voices again?
Arnold from Hey Arnold.
No.
Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life.
Carlos Alazraki?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's his name. And the
and
last
SpongeBob.
one was SpongeBob, Tom Kenny.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, Tom Kenny, he's done so many voices. He was he was Heifer from Rocco.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But
who was Spyro?
Who was Spyro? Trying to think. I'm pretty sure Spyro kind of had a he kind of had a little vocal fry going. He definitely sounded on the younger side. See, here's the thing.
Yep.
Carlos Alazraki. He's had a lot of different work over the years. So he has done a lot of voices. He was Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life. He was the blue mouse thing from Cat Dog.
Oh yeah, Winslow, right?
Winslow, yes, that's right. He was Winslow. Yeah, he was
Laszlo.
He was Laszlo. He was Laszlo. I'm glad you said that. because I'm pretty sure that voice sounds very similar to what Spyro's voice sounds like. He also, what was tipping me off too, is he also is the voice of Mr. Crocker from Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he does that voice also. So he has a pretty impressive range, and I think he could have done a young purple dragon at some point. Arnold's voice actor, I don't really think he did too much else. Yeah, I mean, some people are just kind of like one and done. Dee Dee, her voice actress, like she voiced Dee Dee for like the first for like the first season of Dexter, and then she literally just quit voice acting altogether. She was just like, this isn't my thing, which is fine. But yeah, is what it is.
Yep.
As for this question, I'm not going to deviate too much talking about voice acting. Yeah, I think like like that sounds like something that Alisraki could do. I'm going to go with him, Carlos Alisraki.
Chris, you got it.
Yes! All right.
That was awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Whew.
All right. Whew. Yeah, Tom Kenny, his voice is a little too goofy. He does more like fun, outlandish characters.
Yep.
I didn't think it would be Kenny.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I just kind of stumbled across it putting this together, and I thought that was pretty cool.
All right. So, Justin, that means after 5 questions, we're all knotted up. I don't know how we keep finding ourselves in this situation.
Yeah. But we now have a chance to neither of us play Uriel Chasm 3.
This is probably the best compromise either one of us could have at this point. It all depends on how these tiebreaker questions go.
Oh, God. Okay.
All right, so no pressure. And as you know, Justin, but our viewers don't know, we decided the tiebreaker concept literally right before we recorded this episode. So I threw this question together like real fast. So, Justin, this might not be the greatest question, but it is my question, so do with it what you may.
Okay.
All right, so my tiebreaker question to you, Justin. Crash Bandicoot is a bandicoot. Bandicoots are native to what country? A, South Africa, B, Australia, or C, Saudi Arabia?
Oh, man. I think a bandicoot is in, like, the Wolverine family? Or the Tasmanian Devil family? The Badger family? Are they all the same thing? I don't know. I'm not the animal expert.
No, I can't tell. They're like Wolverines, right?
Yeah. Saudi Arabia, that, I don't have a good reason, but that just sounds like it's not the right answer. The climate there might be too dry for a bandicoot. Oh, man, I'm really pulling this out of my ass. It was South Africa and Australia.
Those were the other 2 choices, yes.
I really wish I knew more about bandicoots.
Maybe if you played more of Crash, you would know.
All right, here's my thought process.
Okay.
I feel like the fauna of Australia is something that's talked about a lot. We all know about wallabies and koalas and kangaroos and Tasmanian devils and
dingoes.
Dingoes. Well, I guess Tasmanian devils would be in Tasmania. Whatever. But not once in my life have I ever heard about a bandicoot in Australia. It doesn't mean they're not there. That's just never been an animal that pops up when you talk about Australia. So with that very paper thin ideal, I'm going to go with South Africa as my final answer.
That's your final answer?
Yes.
They're from Australia. Bandicoots are indigenous to the Australian region.
Oh my god. Oh my god. If I lose because of this, I will never touch a Crash Bandicoot game ever again.
Don't blame Crash, man.
Yeah, it's not his fault. I'm just angry.
Also, there is every opportunity that I am going to blow this, and neither of us will have to play. So here are the options, which I'm really happy about. So either none of us play Uriel's Chasm 3, or you play Uriel's Chasm 3.
God damn it!
All right, so no matter what happens here, I'm doing great. All right,
Huh.
so
All right, I guess I have to root for you on this one then.
you do.
Oh, please get this right.
No, if I get this wrong, neither of us play it. If I get it right, then you have to play it.
I'm confused. Please get this wrong. Please very much get this wrong.
All right.
Okay. All right. Tiebreaker question.
Tiebreaker question.
Bungie, the developers of Halo, chose to work with the developers of which popular strategy game when creating Halo Wars, a strategy game in the Halo universe? Is it A, StarCraft, B, Age of Empires, or C, Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War? So, Halo Wars is an RTS.
Right.
They wanted help from another RTS company, a company that specializes in RTS. That company was known for what game? StarCraft, Age of Empires, or Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War?
Okay. All right. So, I have a confession to make.
Okay.
I was almost of half a mind to purposely take this question so that neither of us had to play it. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I don't know this question well enough to tank it on purpose. So,
well, I guess in the spirit of the game, that's fun.
So, if I get this one right, I'm sorry, but this is going to be a total guess because I really have no idea. So, Halo Wars, RTS,
Yes.
well, not necessarily co-developed, but they had assistance from the same developers of a very popular RTS. Now, StarCraft obviously is Blizzard. I don't think Blizzard worked on this, because if they did, I mean, we would never hear the end of how, Blizzard helped make Halo Wars or whatever. Like, people would be crowing about it. We'd be hearing of it all the time at like BlizzCon or whatever. It would be something that would be known about. People would hear about it. I don't think it was StarCraft. The second one was Age of Empires. One sounds a little bit more plausible. I don't remember what their dev team is called, but they've been around a long time. They've developed the Age of Empires games for a really long time. I can see that. I can see them helping out. What was the third one? It was Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War.
Yeah.
Dawn of War. Okay, so I never played any of the Warhammer games in my entire life. I imagine it's just similar to any other RTS type game. So for me, it's between Age of Empires or Warhammer. Now, I would think that the Age of Empires guys would have more clout. but the Warhammer guys might have more of an understanding of how to maybe have more fantasy elements introduced into the game, because Halo has like a lot of the sci-fi elements to it. Warhammer, I think that has more of a fantasy focus, I believe. So,
yeah, I think so. I don't really know too much about Warhammer either.
Yeah, I don't really know too much about the franchise. So, if you want to send us angry emails explaining it, parpodcast@gmail.com. Age of Empires skews towards more realistic settings in terms of war. Oh, this one's a coin flip, man. This one's a total coin flip. If I get it right, if I get it wrong, I'm so sorry if I get it right.
Of zero consequence to you.
This one is of zero consequence to you, but it's of all the consequence to you. God. I'm really sorry. I'm genuinely sorry if I get this one right.
Okay.
I am going to go with Age of Empires. That is my final answer.
Fuck you, Chris. God damn it! No!
Yes! I won! I win! The look on your face. I wish we had video streaming for this show, because the look on your face just then, like everything goes black and white and it zooms slowly in and you hear, "Hello, darkness, my old friend."
How much is this shitty game anyway?
It can't be expensive. It's got to be less than $10.
Uriel's Chasm 3 Gel Shock. It's $3.34.
I'm so sorry.
Somehow the graphics are worse in this one than they were in the second game.
You know what? After making 2 of these games, maybe they just got tired and stopped trying.
Oh, god damn it.
Well, I for one am very excited to hear all about Uriel's Chasm 3 on our next episode.
Oh, it looks so confusing. Oh my god.
I don't know what to say.
I mean, I have to congratulate you. You did a really good job on these questions, and the way you deduced them was pretty top notch. I mean, a lot of these you did not know, and you figured it out. So
no, this was a challenge. Like a lot of these questions, let me tell you, they were hard questions. I just happened to get lucky with a lot of these guesses. You almost had me with that voice actor question.
Yeah, that was good.
That was close. Oh boy.
Look, we made a deal.
We did. We really did.
This comment's great. Best Uriel's Chasm game so far. 10 out of 10. Would confuse me again.
Drowning in the adrenochrome tears of nightmaring gels. Very good.
You know what? I'm just ready to dive in here and just.
And yeah, man, it's on sale right now. It was $4.99. Now it's $3.34. It's 33% off.
I guess you can't beat that.
Yeah. Oh, this is gross looking. Like this cover art is just really. Ugh.
It's just a mess, but
it's goopy.
All right, but again, that was fun. Great questions. Great job, Chris. I applaud you for winning, even though I hate you.
You're so mad.
Hope everybody had fun. That's going to do it for this week. Remember, Press and Repeatedly posts new episodes every other Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podbean, YouTube, and Spotify. If you like what you hear, please take a moment to rate and review the show or tell your friends about us. It helps other people find the podcast and will really help us grow. And thank you to all who have rated, reviewed, and subscribed so far. We love you.
You can follow us on our Facebook page or on Twitter and Instagram. We are at PAR_podcast. I'm at cgold113, and Justin is at oaf7724. You can email us any questions or comments at parpodcast@gmail.com. That's parpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to check us out on our new and improved blog over at pressarepeatedly.com. And that's all for this week. Chris and Justin signing off. And remember to play the drums to the beat of your favorite anime theme songs. Press A repeatedly.
Please don't make Uriel's Chasm forward.
And